Welcome, everyone. I'm Susan Koenig, and this is Somatics for You. And today is October 1st, a new month, October 1st, 2020. And our theme today, a new theme, is integrating somatic movement and fascial awareness. This class, October and November and December, I am going to be incorporating fascial awareness, fascia connective tissue. We'll be doing a little bit over the next 3 months on it. I've wanted to incorporate it more and study it more. So if I decide I'm going to teach a class on it, then I have to prepare myself, and it's been great. The props you'll need today are a chair so that you can hold on for balance, your floor pad, a variety of pillows. At one point, we're going to go on all fours, on our hands and our knees. And some people are not comfortable putting their palms straight down, under their shoulders on the floor. You can use a fist with a straight arm, this is not quite straight, but you could also take a small towel and fold it so that you can place your palms, and you'll have to decide how much you need to fold it. It may not be even that thick. You can put the heel of your hand on the towel, and it brings it up a little and it makes it more comfortable. So you might need a small towel or a very thin pillow. You might need nothing. You can always use your fists with a straight wrist. Okay, and I have some books to recommend. I want to do that right away. Fascial Fitness by Robert Schleip. He's a big name. He's he came out of the Rolfing tradition. He's German. Then he went back to university after practicing for like 3 decades or something. And he has a couple of PhDs now. He really wanted to study fascia, and he did. And he's a really interesting person. This is a really readable book. And maybe I'm going to hand this over to Isaiah, and he'll put it in chat for you. And I'll mention books now and then as we go along, but I was so pleased with that one because it was so well written and easy to get the concepts, which is, he attributes, Robert Schleip wrote it with a woman named Johanna Bayer, which is, he gives credit to on the cover. And in talking about it, like on YouTube, I watched a couple of interviews with him. He really acknowledges how Johanna Bayer really made it a much better book, and he gives a lot of credit to her. Okay, so let's go to slides. And so I have to go to screen share. And again, integrating somatic movement and fascial awareness is our theme, and it's going to be our theme probably for 3 classes, even if I bring in some other kinds of things. Just a few interesting things I've come across. I talked to a few practitioners that I know, and they had interesting things to say, and I captured a couple of things from each one of them. Some mind-body researchers and practitioners say our brain is in our skull. I would definitely agree with that. My brain is in my skull. Our mind is part of the greater quantum field and is much bigger than our body or our brain. I really agree with that one. You may not. And our consciousness lives in our fascia. Now, that was new to me, and maybe by the end of even today's class, you'll be seeing where this is coming from. So I thought that was such an interesting statement. And then, and here's a slide. Fascial Fitness is the book I'm recommending by Robert Schleip and Johanna Bayer. I have the 2nd edition. I guess there was a 1st edition a while back. And then I love this quote. The brain listens to fascia and talks to muscles. The brain listens to fascia and talks to muscles. And that was said by Thomas Myers in a class on fascia that I took from him. Okay, Let's just go over just a few concepts, and then we're going to look at some pictures, and then we'll get to our movement. All movement uses both muscles and fascia. The muscles and fascia form a single unit. Different kinds of movement emphasize different functions and types of muscles and fascia. Variety is key, from small micro movements to large structured and unstructured movements, from pandiculation, which is part of our Somatic repertoire, to free-form spontaneous play. Variety includes slow cortical movements, fast to faster movements, like our own quick release that we sometimes do in Somatic education, movements that are held, like in yoga poses, specific training movements in sports activities, and more. Genetically, people have different types of fascia, from very loose to very stiff and everything in between. This was so interesting. That's why some people are more prone. If you've got looser fascia, you're going to go for long yoga type things. If your fascia is stiffer, like mine is, it's maybe not very stiff, but it's towards the stiff side. I have a lot of strength, but I have a tighter body. So I found that very interesting. Respect your body type and use common sense when moving. Back away from pain and overstretching. Our goal is health. Okay, I'm going to come into Freya. Freya is coming out of body worlds and the whole plasticine world. And now Freya is representing, instead of the focus on muscles, it is the focus on fascia. And one of the things you see, all this sort of white, off-white, gray, yellowish, this is all fascia. This is all fascia. I'll come back to Freya. And then as they cut through the different layers of fascia, you'll see muscles peeking out. Like here's probably the internal obliques. This is probably the external obliques. But you see all these layers of fascia and how fascia covers everything and connects everything in our body. Okay, let me just, so as we look at a few pictures, I'm going to say a few things about fascia. Fascia is the soft tissue that runs through the entire body. It surrounds almost everything and gives us shape and structure and transmits energy and muscular force through the myo-fascial-skeletal system. Our muscles and fascia work together. Fascia consists of long, expansive networks of tissue in which our muscles and bones and nerves and blood vessels and organs are enveloped and connected. I'm going to use, so here you see, this is more of a piece of a superficial fascia being held up. Here you see some muscle coming through, but you think of the skin, on a chicken, that outer skin, that's the superficial fascia. But as the wrappings go deeper and deeper into the body, you're getting to different layers of fascia. Even between layers of fascia, you can see it's kind of moist and slimy, and that's how it should be. Fascia needs to be hydrated. We need to be hydrated. It's a combination of water and hyaluron, and that's a chemical soup that mixes with the water. And here you see, this is probably the fascia lata. Let me just show you. So wrapped around our whole leg superficially, and then on top of that fascia, between this layer and our skin and fat, between our fat layers, here are veins in blue, yellow would be nerves, but this is like a whole wrapping. This is the fascia lata, the whole wrapping. And it's like this. It's like this. This is probably a lateral quadricep muscle, vastus lateralis. Everything enveloped and wrapped, and layers of fascia against layers of fascia, and they need to be moist and slimy so that they can glide and slide against each other. And here we see superficial fascia held up to the light, how it's sturdy but thin, and it's light sensitive. Light is very important to get on our skin. And here is a pretty typical diagram. This is a muscle. This is a whole muscle. This is a muscle fiber wrapped in its fascial wrapping. Then here is a fascicle, which is a group of muscle fibers, and each one is wrapped in its own fascial wrapping, and the whole thing is wrapped in fascia. And then this fascicle, in combination with all these other fascicles, all wrap together to make a complete muscle. And you see the straps of fascia in between the various sections. These sections need to slip and slide against each other. And then all the fascia, we say fascia attaches to bone. It doesn't attach to bone, it attaches to the fascial wrapping of bone called the periosteum. However, not all the fascia is attached through the tendon. Let me just see if, okay, this might show it. So let's look down here. Here's the gluteus maximus, and here's the iliotibial band starting at the waist. It goes all the way down to the knee. Here's a large strip of fascia. The gluteus maximus, 60% of its fibers, well, I'll do it another way. 40% of its fibers go into the actual tendon, which then goes into the wrapping, the fascial wrapping of the femur bone in our thigh. 60% of its fibers do not go into the tendon, but they go into these expansive fascial, they call them aponeuroses, these fascial nets, these fascial sheaths. So even though glibly we say, well, there's muscle, and then between the muscle and the bone, there's the tendon, that's very simplistic. A lot, and every muscle is a little bit different, but a lot of our muscles, some of them go, some percentage go into the tendon, and some percentage go into the fascial wrapping surrounding that muscle. And then one muscle is connected to another, is connected to another, is connected to another in these long chains, muscle chains connected by the fascia. And it is the connection in the fascia that transmits the energy and force of muscular contraction. So there's a very big picture here that's often not, we often don't study when we just study anatomy from a muscular point of view. So fascia exists in the form of sheaths that are encased around muscle fibers, bundles of fibers, entire muscles, entire regions of the body, and ultimately the whole body. It's bags within bags within bags is what the body really is. The sheaths transfer energy and muscular force via the muscle tendons, and fascial aponeuroses, these fascial spreading net-like structures, to the periosteum of the bones and other muscles across joints throughout the whole chain of muscle movement. The main element of fascia is a protein called collagen. Collagen is a wavy fiber with various degrees of elasticity. There is a continuum of fascial tissue which stores and transfers the mechanical energy of muscle contraction along the movement chains. Elasticity is an integral property of fascia. Fascia changes its shape when a tensile, a lengthening, a stretching or lengthening force is applied, and then returns to its own shape once the tension subsides. Think of a rubber band. And as we do our movements today, certain areas of fascia are very important. This, which I've talked about before, this thoracolumbar aponeurosis. Here you have the latissimus dorsi in the class I did with the lats. The lats ties into the thoracolumbar aponeurosis, and this would be in a contralateral fashion. And then it goes from the arm and lats on this right side through this fascial net of a number of layers to the gluteus maximus and the leg. We also have same side connections. Everywhere where it's whiter is where the fascia is thicker. We have a fascial sheath in the back and in the front. And don't forget, this is not just a fascial sheath in isolation. It's just a little thicker here. All of this is covered in fascia. This connects to this, connects to the fascial sheaths on top of this, which connect to these thicker fascial sheaths. So we have all around the body bags of fascia within bags of fascia within bags of fascia connecting everything. Here's the bottom of the foot with the plantar fascia. This whole dorsal or back line, this whole dorsal or back line, it actually, one end of it is at the pads of the toes. It goes at the bottom of the foot. It goes around the heel. It goes up the Achilles tendon, which is another very important fascial piece of fascia that can develop a lot of kinetic energy like a kangaroo jumps. This is our fascia that really can squeeze and lengthen with a lot of kinetic energy. The key to all this is to move. We need to move. Whatever you like to do, you need to do more of it, more often, within your comfort level. Variety is important. Going to a playground, it's nice to see adults playing on these just like the kids, because this works our body in a whole lot of different directions. I'm going to come out of screen share, and I have an in-person demonstration with a tangerine. There's fascia everywhere. These different sections of the tangerine, these are the fascial coverings. What's holding this tangerine together, what's holding our body together in its structure and form is the outer layer of fascia, and then it can scale down to smaller sections of fascia. This could represent a muscle fiber, or it could represent a bundle of muscle fibers, wrapped in fascia. This could represent a muscle with all the different fascicles and bound in fascia. And then you could have another muscle in the chain coming down under here, wrapped in fascia. So we are these bundles and bags within bags within bags. And what people commonly call muscle soreness is actually now considered to be much more fascial soreness. Muscles can get sore, but fascia is way more now, seems to be the site of the pain of what people call muscle strains. Fascia is considered to be one of our main sensory and proprioceptive self-sensing organ, which allows us to know where we are in space and how we are moving and how we are coordinating. And when my friend said, Bernie Langen, a fascial worker, said our consciousness is in our fascia, our main proprioceptive and sensory organ is our fascia. It's even fascia, the organ of the fascia is bigger than our skin. For a long time, they said, oh, skin was the biggest organ. Not true. Fascia is our biggest organ. And I'm going to use the words fascia and connective tissue interchangeably because they are the same when it comes to the myo, which is muscle, fascial, skeletal system. Fascia reports information about movement, position, tension, pressure, and pain to our brain and autonomic nervous system. And it is our largest sensory organ, even larger than the skin. Our goal is to add awareness about fascia to our existing somatic movement routines so we can exercise it properly and therefore further add to our overall health. There are a variety of types of fascias with different densities, strengths, functions, degree of fluid content, stiffness, or plasticity. Our bodies need to move to be healthy, to keep our tissues hydrated. And we're going to, as we do some of the movements, I'm going to talk about sponging. Sponging is the concept that if you think of a sponge, you soak it in water, then you squeeze it. That would be muscle contraction along with its fascial envelopes, and then the muscle relaxes. The water can go back into the sponge. The muscle might lengthen. That might bring out that might squeeze out a little bit more water, not as much as muscle contraction. And as we use our muscles and we contract and we relax and we lengthen and we contract and relax and we lengthen, as we do that all throughout the body, we are hydrating our fascia and all our tissue, our joints. Everything in our body needs to be hydrated. One of the issues of aging is the drying process. We get drier. So it's really important we move and stay hydrated. It contributes, fascia contributes to the immune function. I'm not going to talk about that today, and to the effects of aging. So with that introduction, and in the discussion after class, if you stay, I'll jot down what your questions are so I can incorporate them as the classes go on and hopefully be able to answer them. So let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and stand up. And, you know, when you first stand up, sometimes it takes just a little bit to get yourself upright. I'm going to adjust my screen. I want to be able to see everything. I'm going to push this back. Let's see if you can see head to feet. I'm wearing my aqua slippers, even though I will take them off for the second move. So here's my foot, so you can see my head. First of all, just standing, you want to just stand for a moment. You don't want your knees locked. In fact, just very gently bend your knees a little bit, and you can rock on your feet, more towards the balls, more towards the heels, and find that place where you're more balanced over your feet. And then just gently come up. What you want to do when you come up is maybe come up where you think it's a little bit forward or straight. What a lot of people do, I'm going to bend again, what a lot of people do, and I'm going to exaggerate, what a lot of people do when they come up is they come up and they bend backward, and then they try to find straight, and it's hard to find that. So when you bend your knees and you just come up what you think is straight, but a very slight lean, and you'll probably be straighter. Okay, I'm going to use a chair for balance. You don't have to use a chair for balance, but I really suggest it. Otherwise, a lot of your brain energy is going to go into keeping your balance rather than the muscular work. And we're going to start right at the feet. And we're going, and I think I will take off my slippers now. And because I have socks on, you probably will be able to see my feet. Going to come up into plantar flexion on the balls of your feet, like high heels, like you're wearing high heels. Come down slowly to rest, and then come on to your heels, picking up your toes and feet. This is dorsal flexion. And then slowly come down. We're doing this pendicularly. Pendiculation, we go into the contraction phase, plantar flexion on the balls of our feet. Let your toes, let the pads of the toes be on the floor. And then slowly come down. You can come down halfway, come back up a little bit. This is challenging. Come down almost all the way. Come back up a little bit and slowly come down. Part 2 of pendiculation is the slow controlled release. We're using the cortical parts of our brain to reorganize voluntary muscle patterns and to reset the resting tonus of our muscles. The next move we're going to do, and I've done it in class before, but a long time ago, is Dorsey Rocking. You come into Dorsey flexion on your heels, and you're going to come just to the balls of your feet, leave your toes up, and you're rocking. And this is an Achilles tendon move, very good for the Achilles tendon. The Achilles tendon gets very stiff and very tight, and that's what a lot of people, when they sprain their ankles or hurt their feet, they can't jump anymore. They jump off something and they really hurt themselves. Their fascia has gotten too thin and too weak and too unexercised. So this Dorsey rocking on the heels, when you get tired, you just stop. Dorsey rocking is a really good thing to do, and you can stop on a walk at a fence or a gate and just hold on, and you can exercise your feet even in shoes. Dorsey and plantar flexion, and then Dorsey rocking. Please make your way to the floor and set yourself up on your back in comfort. Use pillows if you want. I really suggest a pillow or books under your head so that you don't tip your head back, and so you actually can't tip your head back, so your neck is long. It's up to you. Legs straight, legs bent, a bolster under the legs. This is just the opening to begin to come into yourself. As you lie on the floor, you can begin to organize yourself in comfort, begin to breathe, nostril breathing, easy breathing, let your body breathe you. You don't have to do any particular form of, of breathing. You may want to begin to slow down your exhales. That's a very healthy thing to do. And as you lie down, notice your body yielding to support. Notice the contacts. Where is the back side of your body making contact? Back of the head, upper back, shoulders, parts of the back, buttocks, depending on what your legs are doing. Could be different parts of your legs, thighs, calves, heels. If your knees are bent, it's going to be the flat of the foot, coming back up to the shoulders, coming down the arms, upper arms, elbows, forearms, hands, fingers, just wherever you're making contact. Sometimes people have bolsters under wrists for more comfort in their wrist. Wherever you have contact, pay more attention to the contacts. It'll help you to organize spatially in your body, and it'll help you to not do. Relaxation is a very strange term in a certain way. It's hard to know what people mean by relaxation. Some people collapse. They just like, and they kind of become a big heavy lug. That is not what we're doing here. When we come to rest, we keep our awareness and our attention. We want to stay aware of what we're experiencing. We want to feel support or yield of our body. We want to either, if our eyes are closed, internally notice whatever we notice in sensations. If our eyes are open, we also want to notice the environment and be able with soft eyes to look around and also pay attention internally. So we want to keep our attention active, and we want to not do. We want to allow our muscles to undo and not do. And that's the rest. That's coming to rest. Let's begin with our pelvic tilt. This is a very small arch and flatten. We've done it before, and I think it's really an important movement. Knees bent, feet on the floor, arms comfortable. You're going to focus on your pelvis, and especially your sacrum and your pubic bone. But sacrum is easier because you can feel the pressure of your sacrum to some degree on the floor. As you inhale, you're going to inhale and roll towards your tailbone, and it's as if your tailbone can come into the floor and continue to roll backward to the center of your waist in your back, a low, low arch. And then you'll come out of that slowly. As you continue to exhale, you'll gently contract your belly, and you're directing your pubic bone to come to your navel. And you'll slowly come out of this. It's a micro movement, arch and flatten. It's almost like you're rolling in towards the tailbone towards the tailbone coccyx on the arch, and rolling towards the top of the sacrum on your flatten, but you're getting the flatten by contracting belly. So it's small, and it really is organizing your pelvis to be able to tilt. The arch is an anterior tilt. You'll come to your neutral, which is a more neutral pelvis, and then pubic bone to navel is a posterior tilt. The top of your pelvis is going backward, and it really organizes your tilt. Now, the muscles you're using for the arch are in the low back, and then you're using lower belly muscles, lower abdominal muscles to do your flatten. It's very good. And come to rest. And now you're going to grow your arch and flatten, and it's going to be embedded in an upper trapezius move I like to do a lot. It's very important to connect certain parts of our body together. It's important in terms of understanding muscles and muscle groups, and it's important in terms of understanding fascial connections. So our head, neck, shoulders, chest in the front, upper back in the back, and our arms coming out of our shoulders all the way to our fingers. That chest, rib cage, upper back, arms connection is very important, and we're going to work with that now. I'll start guiding you, and then I'll give you more information as we go along. You're going to, as you inhale and arch, you're going to let your head go a little backward, roll both arms backward. Your shoulders are going backward. Your shoulder blades are coming closer together. If you can hold that for just a moment, you can really focus on what's contracting in the back. Fingers long, let it go all the way through straight fingers. And in the front, you're lengthening through the chest, through the rib cage in the front. Your shoulders are going away from each other. Your arms, because they're turning backward, the front of your arms are in length. And then slowly, slowly come out of that to rest. When you, in Somatics, we tend to go into a position, maybe a half a second, we may or may not hold, and then we come out of it very slowly. When you go into a movement and you hold it a little longer, you're probably relating, you're not negating the somatic part, but you're probably relating to fascia a little bit more because you're holding those tissues a little bit longer, one side of the movement in contraction, one side of the movement in length. Let's do the opposite movement. Inhale to exhale. As you exhale, roll your arms in, let your chin roll down. The back of your neck is long. Your chest sinks a little bit. Your shoulders come forward and are coming a little bit more toward each other. Your arms are rolling inward. If you can hold that, you might have to back off. You don't have to come into it real strongly. But now the front is contracted. The back part is lengthening. The upper back between the shoulder blades is lengthening. The shoulders in the back are coming away from each other because your arms are internally rotated. The external muscles are going into length. And slowly release. Slowly, slowly, slowly release and come to active rest, where you're allowing the muscles to undo and you're keeping focused awareness. So we can focus on the contracting side of a movement, which is what we favor in somatic education. We can focus on the lengthening side of a movement, and we can focus on both sides at the same time. We can start getting used to focusing on both. When you focus more on the lengthening side, you're probably more towards the fascial awareness. And when you're focused more on the contraction side, you're probably more muscularly focused. They're both important. Fascia and muscles work together as a unit. And let's just focus, as we do this again, let's focus on the arms. Rotation is particularly good. The arms are rotating. Rotation is particularly good for sponging, meaning for that fluid all through your tissues and joints to squeeze out, and then the fluid comes back in, and the fluid squeezes out and comes back in. So inhale, arch, shoulders roll outward, shoulders backward, shoulder blades closer together, fingers long, head gently back, not strongly back, gently back, and a long arc. Focus on your arms. Some of the tissues and muscles and fascia are squeezing out the water and ground substance in your fascia and in your body. And then as you slowly release to rest, The water is coming back into the parts that were contracted. And now as you find an exhale, flatten, contracting your belly, roll your arms in, let your chin roll down so the back of your neck can go long. Now your arms are rotating in the opposite direction, turning in. They're squeezing out the tissues from internal rotation. Slowly release and come to rest. And arm rolling in and of itself is excellent for sponging, for getting the fluids to come in and out of your tissues. And especially as we get older, we need to sponge a lot more. Let's move on, come to rest, and let's move on to our next movement. We're going to do arch and curl, what I call arch and curl, same side. I'm going to lead it first as it's in the Somatics book, and then I'm going to do a variation which is a bit more fascial. So I'm going to give you specific directions. If you reverse the directions, you're just going to have to reverse it for yourself. You're going to, your knees are bent. You're going to bring your right hand behind your head. You're going to lift your right bent leg and take your left hand to your right knee. Whether it's over the knee or under the knee, it doesn't matter. And you're going to inhale and arch. And as you arch, your head goes back. Your back is in gentle contraction. Your knee is pressing into your hand to increase your lower back contraction. You exhale and slowly come to rest, but holding your right hand behind your head and your left hand to your right knee. And then on an exhale, find an exhale, contract your abdominal muscles and comfortably bring your elbow in towards midline and direct your right elbow and right knee to come toward each other. Don't pull your right knee with your left hand. Just let your own muscles work to bring your knee and elbow closer together, and you slowly release out of that. And you come to a rest, and we're going to repeat it one more time. Inhale, arch, press your knee into your hand, press your head back gently, your elbow opens out. Exhale, slow release. Contract belly to do the same side curl, elbow, right knee toward each other, and slowly release and relax. Let your right foot come down to the floor, let your arms come long on the floor. So I've been experimenting with how to add a little bit more fascial awareness to these moves. And here's, oh, there's so many variations. I hope you come up with a whole bunch and then you teach me or teach us. But this would be a little bit more fascial version of it. We're going to be using our right arm and our right leg. So we're going to stay with the right side. So you're going to have to bring your left hand behind your head, because when on the curl, I want your head to be supported so that you're not straining your neck. So your right arm is down by your side, long, and I'll take you through this slowly. As you inhale and your knees are bent, your right knee is bent. As you inhale and arch, you're going to lengthen your right leg and point your foot and toes, and you're going to lift your right arm to wherever it's comfortable. Some people may get straight up towards the ceiling. Some people may be able to bring their right arm all the way back onto the floor behind them. No forcing, no forcing. So you've got a length all from the back of, from your fingers to the back of your arm, through your back, through your gluteal muscles, to the back of the leg, to your toe pads. Now, as you exhale, you're going to reverse in a slow flow. You're going to start to exhale, contract your belly. You're going to gently dorsiflex your foot, bringing your toes and foot towards your kneecap. Slightly lift your straight leg. Lift your head with your left hand and some neck muscles, and bring your arm toward your foot. Bring your arm down and towards your foot. So the front is got a contraction and the back has a long fascial length. And then as you inhale, you begin to reverse the direction. Your leg comes down, your foot points, you inhale and arch. Your arm gets long and goes up either toward the ceiling or beyond. As you begin to exhale, you gently transition from releasing the back to contracting the belly. Dorsey flex your foot. Lift your leg, a long leg, lift it a little bit, long arm, point your fingers, long fingers towards your toes. And then slowly just come to rest. And your right leg can be long or bent, whichever is more comfortable for rest for you. So fascial work tends to emphasize longer chains of muscles. They use the word stretch a lot, and I don't like the word stretch because too many people still yank and pull. You need to stay within the comfort of your tissues, the natural elasticity, and not go beyond the natural elasticity of your tissues. Whether you're doing Somatics or you're doing a yoga pose, in my opinion, you need to, if you work with your system's elasticity and you practice something over time, you become more elastic, more hydrated, and stronger. All right, let's go to our left side, same side. Starting with how same side arch and curl is in the Somatics book. Left hand behind your head, bend your knees, bring your bent left knee towards your chest. Take your left knee with your right hand. Inhale, arch, pressing your knee into your hand, tipping your head back into your hand. Exhale, come to a slow release and a mini stop on a continued contraction or a new exhale. I'm sorry, on a new exhale or a continued exhale, contract your abdominal muscles. Bring your left elbow and left knee toward each other by muscle power. Your left hand is helping to raise your head. You're not yanking your knee towards your elbow by pulling. You're doing it under muscle power. And then slowly let that release go ahead one more time. Inhale and arch. Contracting back, opening front. Where does your awareness roam? Exhale, come to slow release, rest, exhale, curl, let your left hand help your head. And what is contracting, what is lengthening? Slowly release, bringing your foot back down to the floor, bringing your arm back down to the floor. And now we'll do more of a fascial version. We're still maintaining comfort. We're still focusing at times on contraction, at times on lengthening, but these longer moves through the body tend to be more fascially oriented and connect chains of muscles together. Okay. Bring your right hand behind your head so you can still lift your head with ease, but your left hand is free on the floor. As you inhale and arch, lengthen your left leg, point your left toes and foot. Bring your left arm up toward the ceiling and beyond to the floor behind you, whatever's comfortable. Do not force, do not hurt yourself. Listen to the elasticity into your tissues. Exhale, slow flow in the opposite direction. Dorsey flex your foot, lengthen your left straight leg. Let your right hand help lift your head. Lengthen your your left arm and fingers towards your left foot in comfort. Backside is lengthening, very fascial on the backside. Front side is contracting. Slowly transition. We'll do one more and then we'll rest. You're going to inhale, come into an arch, lengthen point your left foot and toes, bring your left arm up toward the ceiling and beyond, depending on your comfort. Exhale and slow transition. Dorsey flex the foot, gently raise your left straight leg. Let your right hand help lift your head. Bring your left arm and fingers long towards your left foot. Slowly come out of this move to rest. Now, the goal is to work muscles and fascia, some more muscle oriented, some more fascially oriented. Even though fascia and muscles work together, the tissues have some differences in how you train them. The idea is to feel good. No straining, no forcing. Okay. Let's turn slowly onto our bellies. Those of you that can turn onto your belly, prone position. Head in the center, one hand over the other. Let yourself be comfortable. Some people need to have a pillow under their belly area or under their shoulders, or you have to find a way to be comfortable. Some people become very comfortable on the floor. We want to start with our head in the center. So one hand over the other, your forehead on your top hand, if that's comfortable. And we're going to work with the whole dorsal line. The dorsal is the back fin. The dorsal fin on a fish is the back fin. We're working with our back side from our scalp through our whole body and plantar fascia on the bottom of our feet, but we're going to do one leg at a time. So because we're going to start with a lengthened right leg, go ahead and hip hike on the left. And as you inhale, your hands stay on the floor. As you inhale, you gently arch. You want to make your body go longer rather than more up toward the ceiling. And the lengthened right leg will lift. If you point your toes, then you're also getting calf and plantar fascia, and slowly come down, slowly come down. Sometimes extension moves are more difficult for people and they tend to come down really fast. See if you can come down slowly. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, arch. Your head is going longer in front of you than it is coming up. Your hip hike left so your right leg can be longer, and you raise your straight right leg to comfort, point your toes, and you'll also get calf and maybe even more hamstring. And then slowly, see if you can do it more slowly. Come out of this. We're more pendicular, but because it's also a long chain, it's also quite fascial. You want to come out of this contraction slowly. And then you get to the floor and you rest. And you not do. Active awareness. You may notice the sensations of the movements you're doing. And let's change to the other side, left leg. So you're going to hip hike right, inhale, arch, lift and lengthen your head. Your back is contracting in extension. Lift your straight left leg, point your left foot and toes. So you get the complete dorsal fascial line down your left leg and your upper body. Slowly, slowly come out of this to rest and repeat one more time. Inhale, arch, head goes long more than it goes up. And you can do that with your left long leg. It can go long more than it goes up, getting the fascial lengthening and pointing your foot and toes, and slowly come back down and rest. And gently come onto all fours. You're coming onto your knees and your palms. Your palms are either flat, maybe they're on a little heels of your hands on a pillow, or a soft fist where your fist can come down. You want your knees under your hips and you want your wrists under your shoulders as much as you can. If you can see your screen, it's kind of like a mirror. And your neck is long. You've got eyes. You've got eyes on the top of your head. The crown of your head has eyes, and your eyes are looking straight forward towards the wall in front of you. Your back is long. Your neck is long. Take a moment to position yourself. Just coming into this position in and of itself is an important movement. And now gently, you're going to release one of your arms and lengthen it out straight. Keep your neck and back long. You'll feel a weight shift. How do you balance? How do you bounce? Fingers long, and then slowly bring that hand back to the floor and re-find your balance. Now slowly reach out with your other hand. Your neck and back are straight, eyes on the top of your head, reaching out, straight fingers. Notice there was a weight shift. How do you balance? Slowly bring your hand back down, reposition, rebalance. Going to do the same thing with one of your legs. Bring one of your legs out to comfort. You're lengthening that leg. Back stays long, neck stays long. You can point your toes if you want. Feel the weight shift. The balance involved. Slowly bend your knee, come back to your new neutral on all fours, and go to your other leg. Notice the weight shift. You have to shift your weight and rebalance your body to let go, to lift your other leg. Your neck is long, your back is long. You've got eyes at the top of your head. And slowly bring that leg back down so that you're in the all fours position. And now you're going to take an opposite arm and leg. It could be your right arm and left leg or vice versa. Go into this slowly. Feel the balance that you need to figure out. And if it's not comfortable, do it a little bit and come back onto the floor. We're all at different places. And as we get older, this kind of balancing is really important. Just do it to comfort and then slowly come back down. And you're going to repeat that same side one more time. So you have, if I was on my own, I'd probably do it 3 to 5 times just to start understanding what I have to do to balance in my body. Keep your back long, keep your neck long, eyes at the top of your head. And then you'll slowly come back, reposition yourself, take your time. You don't have to stay with me. Take the time it takes. And when you have completed at least 2, you're going to go to the other diagonal. Now, usually people choose the easier diagonal first, just intuitively. I sure did. And when I went to my other diagonal, I was so surprised because I thought this is going to be so easy. And it was not at all easy for me. And so the second diagonal, it may be easier, but it may not be. And so work with your coordination, go slowly. Maybe you have to do an arm before a leg or a leg before an arm before you add the other. And as you have time, you can repeat. No rushing. And what does it take to go into the movement and slowly out of the movement? Coming out of the movement back into position takes a lot of balance, or for many of us, and concentration. And I have loved refreshing this because I just hadn't done it for a long time. And I used to do it all the time. And it used to be so easy. And now it is not as easy at all. And come on to one of your sides. So you're going to just take your time, get your pillow for under your head if you like that position. You definitely want your head to have support, either with your arm or a pillow. And let your knees be comfortably bent. Okay, now the lateral line, as our part of our regular somatic education, we work with our lateral line in the lateral flexion move quite a lot. Only the adjustment we're going to make today is we're going to straighten our top leg. So don't go into the leg position yet. Let me explain. So in our lateral flexion move, we usually take our top arm and we put it over our head to support our head. You can do that position. You can also do if that's uncomfortable for you, you can bend your elbow and bring your fingers towards your shoulder, or you can just leave your arm long. It's up to you. You're going to have to work with your shoulder and other issues. Lengthen your top leg straight out as if you're standing on it. And now from this position, now you've got the whole lateral line towards the ceiling, or most of it. And now you're going to contract. You're going to, using your oblique muscles, you're going to lift your head. Using your oblique muscles, you're going to lift your leg, some gluteal muscles, and then you're going to slowly come out of this. You can keep your leg long, but you can bend your knee a little bit, let your leg rest on the floor. Now, as we repeat this move, we're going to add the foot. You're going to, as you lengthen your top leg, bring the bottom of your foot towards the ceiling. You are everting, and now you're even getting the lateral side of the ankle and foot. And also lift your head, or bring your, if your fingers are at your shoulder, bring your armpit down. If your arm is long, bring your arm long. Go into the contraction and include the foot, and slowly come down. Let your leg relax. And bring your knee, top knee on top of your other knee now, coming into the chair position. And now we're going to go into the quote, quick release. I'll explain it. You'll do it slowly with me the first time. And as we repeat it, you can go a little faster or more decisively. It's a very quick release is a very fascially oriented movement. Not only does it put a movement into the cerebellum, but a little bit of momentum, not over momentum, a little bit of decisiveness really is training the fascia as well. So what you're going to do is just go from this position. I'm sorry, that is not correct. We're going to do the contraction. Lengthen your top leg, bring your bottom, the sole of your foot towards the ceiling, lift your head so you're contracting your lateral line. And now I'm going to say hold, hold, hold. Lengthen your top arm if you can over your head. Lengthen your top leg so you start bringing it down, and invert your foot. So you start bringing the bottom of your foot toward the floor so you get a full lengthening, but don't hurt. If you can't do that, you don't hurt yourself. You adjust your arm and you adjust your leg for comfort, and slowly just come to some relaxation. And you're going to do that again. This time when we go into the quick release, we'll contract first. You can do it a little bit more decisively. You're going to have to judge on the competency of your fascial tissues, how decisive you're going to be, and you might want to keep it very slow because you're not there yet. But training to go into a quick release at different levels from slow to faster is a good thing to do over time. Okay, contraction. Straighten your leg, evert your foot, raise your head. You're contracting from the obliques. You're coming into contraction. Hold, hold, hold. Lengthen your top arm and leg to the extent that it's comfortable, and invert your foot as it comes down. So you're lengthening even along the lateral line to under your foot, as well as through your upper body. Rest, turn onto your back for just a moment. And turn onto your other side. Okay. We're going to do a more fascial lateral line. I want to point out a couple of things on this round. Let your upper body relax, let your top arm relax for a moment. go ahead and just straighten your top leg to the extent you can, straight down, just holding your leg as if you're standing on it. And your IT band, the famous ITB, iliotibial band, is a piece of thickened fascia, goes from your waist, your waist at the top of the iliac crest on the side, down the side of your pelvis, down the side of your thigh to below your knee. And then just let your leg relax for a moment. That band holds the relationship of your hip and your knee together. It's where the fascia gets thicker. Now, once again, straighten that top leg. We're working with it just for awareness. Just straighten the top leg as if you're standing on it. Now, that iliotibial band, on one side of it, you have the tensor fasciae lata, and on the other side, you have the gluteus maximus. So if you gently turn your leg inward, it's as if you're standing on it, but you're just turning it inward toes toward the floor. Now you're going more towards the tensor fasciae lata side. Come back to a neutral, leg long, unless you have to rest, and gently turn your leg now outward, toes. This is often harder for people, toes more up toward the ceiling, the top leg, not the bottom leg, the top leg. And now you're in more of the gluteus max attachment to the ITB. Rest your leg. And one more time, straighten your top leg. And you're going to just gently roll your leg like a rolling pin in one direction, like toes down, and then more towards toes up. You may be able to sense that this ITB band is holding your leg in the hip, pelvis, and knee in position, so you can turn that thigh in the socket and then use the tensor fasciae lata contraction more, or the gluteus maximus contraction more with its attendant fascia to do these movements, and then rest. I didn't do that on the other side. I meant to do it, but this gives you a little bit more, maybe a little bit bigger picture of the relationship of at least the iliotibial band to its attachments into both gluteus max and tensor fasciae lata because of these fascial expansions. Okay, let's go to the lateral line. You can bring your hand over your head if that's comfortable, or your fingers to your shoulder, or your arms straight down resting on your side. You're going to lengthen your top leg. You're going to evert your foot. You're going to bring the bottom of your foot up. You're going to contract through the obliques, and you're going to bring your head up and contract your ribs. Your leg is going to come up. So you're contracting your lateral line. And now slowly release that, and you can let your knee bend a little bit and just rest. And we'll do that one more time. Straighten your top leg as you contract and bring your head up and your leg up. Your bottom of your foot goes up towards the ceiling, so you're getting the lateral side of the ankle and foot. And slowly come down. And on this third repetition, we'll do the hold, 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 and lengthen. So straighten your top leg, lift your head, lift your straight top leg, evert your bottom of your foot towards the ceiling, hold, 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 and lengthen to the extent that's comfortable. Lengthen your top arm over your head, lengthen your top leg. You can even invert your foot, and as you lengthen even more, your ribs on the bottom, your obliques on the bottom contract. You're opening up that top lateral line. Your foot comes down to the floor and inverts if you can. And relax. And turn onto your backs. and just take a rest. Sometimes it's nice to take a longer rest. If we had a lot more time, I would bring you through an active rest period that was maybe 5 minutes long, but we're probably going to do 10 or 15 more seconds. You come back to your breathing. You come back to where you feel the support and the contact with the floor. You keep your awareness active. Your eyes may be closed, your eyes may be open. You keep your awareness active internally. And even with your eyes closed, you can be aware of the sounds of the external environment, maybe the air quality, the temperature. There's a lot of things you can pay attention to. Active awareness, but you're allowing your muscles to undo, to not work, to get calm. Okay, let's bend our knees and let's do a diagonal arch and curl. And I'm going to start with mostly like it's in the book, but with a modification. So both knees are bent. Bring your right hand behind your head. Take your left bent leg, bring it towards your chest, and take your left knee with your left hand. So your right hand's behind your knee, your left hand to your left knee. Now you can do a diagonal arch instead of just a straight up and down arch. If you turn your head to the right, as you inhale, if it's comfortable, inhale and arch, bring your right elbow down, diagonally bring your left knee out, diagonally contracting through your left pelvis and knee. You can press your knee into your hand, diagonal arch. Exhale, slowly release. And then exhale, contract your belly or continue your exhale. And right elbow, left knee comes toward each other. Your weight is in your right hemi-pelvis. So you lift that left hemi-pelvis or lighten it off the floor, just like your right shoulder is a little bit lifted. It's a diagonal curl. And then slowly come to your new neutral and do that one more time. If you'd like to diagonalize it, you're inhaling and arching, your face to the right, your right elbow into the floor, your knee into your left hand, but your knee is going out to externally rotate your hip more. And then slowly release through your neutral to your curl, contracting your belly. Now your weight shift is important. If you're diagonalizing, your left hemi-pelvis is lightened. The weight has gone into your right hemi-pelvis. Your right back of your shoulder is lightened so that the elbow knee or elbow hip can come closer together. And slowly come down and rest. So this is many times we do it this way. And now you're going to change your hand position and go ahead and it's up to you if you want to diagonalize it or not. Inhale, arch, face to the left, left elbow into the floor, right knee into your right hand, but you're externally rotating through your hip, knee outward. And then as you slowly release and work through the transition to your curl, exhale, contract belly. Now you're diagonalizing, oops, I'm not saying that right. Your left elbow, right knee. Notice your weight shift. If your right knee is coming towards your left elbow, your left hemi-pelvis is lightened. The weight goes into your left hemi-pelvis. And there's a similar, if your left elbow is coming towards your right hip, behind your left shoulder is lightened. Your weight is more, it's hard, it's a little, anyway, you want to try to feel if you're lifting something off the floor, that side of your hemi-pelvis or that side of your shoulder is lighter. And I can't remember if I guided you through 2 of these. If you haven't done a second one, go ahead and do a second one, and then just come out into relax, into a position of undoing, of not doing, active relaxation. You're staying aware. What are you aware of? Where are your points of contact? Can you feel yourself yielding to the floor? Can you be aware of the sensations from the movements you've been doing? Whether eyes are open or closed. If you always close your eyes, you might want to open your eyes and see if you can stay internally aware, even with your eyes open. It's just another additional practice to do in overall somatic mindfulness. And come into your position of comfort. Go to your breathing, nostril breathing. Let yourself be comfortable, supported however you need to support yourself. And we'll end the floor work with our heart math breathing, where you are doing nostril breathing in and out, as if you're breathing in and out of your heart, in and out of your chest area. You're slowing your breathing down. You're not forcing it to be slow. You're just being, especially the exhales, you're just being more conscious. The inhales are often faster. The exhales are what you want to slow down. You're breathing in and out of your heart chest area. As you breathe, you're creating a sincere regenerative feeling, such as gratitude or appreciation for something in your life. There are many regenerative feelings. Gratitude, what are you grateful for? It could be caring for a pet, caring for a sick or dying mother, caring for somebody you know that needs some healing energy. Appreciation for a friend, appreciation of when you take walks, appreciation for some kindness that someone did to you or you did for another person. See if you can get into that feeling as you breathe in and out of your heart, and you're cultivating calmness and ease at the same time. And come to a not doing, a last bit of time for active resting. Slowly make your way onto your side. You may even want to spend a few seconds on your side. It's a very comforting position to go into, but you're eventually going to make your way to standing. There's no rushing. Once you come to standing, what I find is sometimes when I come to standing, I'm not really ready to be still. If you're ready to be still, that's fine. Sometimes I just need to go lean from side to side or lift one foot and then the other just a little bit as I'm reorganizing. The feedback from my muscles and fascia is different now than it was when I started. And sometimes it just takes me a little bit to get back into myself and to feel like I'm stable and steady. You can just gently bend your knees a little bit. You can rock on your feet towards your heels, towards the balls of your feet, and then smaller and smaller until you feel a sense that you're really present over your feet as you gently come to straight knee, not locked knee. You might want to come a little bit forward as you stand. That usually makes you straighter. And then usually we do just a la-di-da walk, but today we're going to do the under over walk. And I will try to demonstrate it. You can see, here's my foot. You can see me, my feet at the bottom of the screen. It's a nice one. It's a twisting walk. I'm going to start with this leg, which is my right leg. It doesn't matter what it looks like to you. I'm going to take it just a step a little bit to the side, and I'm going to bring my other leg over that leg. Then my right leg is going to take a step, and now my left leg is going to come under, and my right leg is going to take a step. And I don't have any more room. I have a small space too. Now I'm going to go the other way. Now my left foot is going to come out a little bit. My right leg is going to go over, take a step with my left leg. My right leg is coming under, take a step with my left leg, and I'm going to reverse. It's over, under, over. I have to go the other way. And you're doing a nice twisting. Go slowly until you get it. And then when I go slowly, it's harder for me to balance. So that would be good for me to go slow. But as you do this, you can begin to feel the rotational shift in your upper and lower body, in your head and your neck. I call it the under over. And then just take a little walk, la-di-da. We're probably a minute or two over. Just take a little walk, see how you feel. Today we focused on muscles and fascia and we did a number of longer movements, which favors fascia. Quicker movements tends to favor fascia. The lengthening side tends to favor fascia. The contracting side tends to favor muscle focus, but you can do both at the same time. And then particularly rotational movements, but any contraction movements start to wring the fluids and do sponging. Sponging is very important. And that is going to officially end our class today. Thank you very much for attending.